All right, so we've all been there, right? You ask a chatbot a pretty simple question, and what you get back is this incredibly detailed, super confident, and completely wrong answer. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and figure out why these brilliant AI models sometimes just, well, make stuff up.
I mean, just look at this example. A top AI model was asked about a researcher's dissertation. It shot back a title, a year, and a university. Looked great. The only problem, the title was wrong, the year was wrong, and the university was wrong. This isn't just some random glitch. It's a super common thing that researchers call a hallucination.
So what is going on here? How can an AI that can write poetry and debug code turn around and confidently invent basic facts? Well, the answer is pretty fascinating. See, hallucination isn't some deep, mysterious bug. It's actually a predictable, and you could even say logical, result of how these AIs are built, and, this is the key part, how they're tested.
To really get to the bottom of this, we've got to go back to school. AI school. So picture a large language model during its first training. It's like a student being told to read the entire internet, every book, every article, all at once. Its very first job isn't to create anything new. It's to learn how to tell the difference between what's valid and what's not. And this, right here, is the absolute heart of the issue. Before an AI can generate a correct fact, it has to get really, really good at a much harder task: judging whether any sentence you give it is valid in the first place. It has to become a world-class fact-checker before it can ever be a reliable fact-stater.
You know, researchers actually have a name for this. They call it the "is it valid" problem. The AI is basically put through the world's biggest, most intense true or false quiz. It gets shown millions upon millions of statements and has to learn how to sort them into just two buckets: valid or error. This is literally the foundation for how it understands the world.
And this slide just shows you exactly where the cracks start to appear. For stuff with clear patterns like spelling, the AI is an A+ student. It can easily see that greetings is an error, but look at that bottom row. Arbitrary facts like someone's birthday. There's no pattern to learn there. If the AI hasn't seen that specific fact over and over again, it's really just making a guess.
So here is the absolute kicker. Any weakness, any little statistical hiccup in the AI's ability to judge a fact during training becomes a full-blown hallucination when we ask it to generate facts later on. If it can't reliably tell that Jacob Perez's birthday is a plausible error, then it's going to have zero problem confidently stating it as a fact. The errors are literally baked in from the very beginning.
And get this, the numbers here are just shockingly direct. Research shows that if a fact only shows up once in all of that training data, the AI's ability to get it right is basically a coin flip. So if 20% of facts about, say, birthdays are that rare, you can pretty much expect the model to hallucinate on at least 20% of birthday questions.
Okay, so we know these weaknesses get baked in from day one. But that brings up a pretty big question, right? Why aren't they trained out of the models? Well, it turns out we've actually built a system that encourages this exact behavior. The AI, kind of like a stressed-out student, has figured out that guessing is its best shot at getting a high score.
You see, the way we grade and rank these AI models is with these massive digital exams called benchmarks. And most of these benchmarks have a huge, glaring flaw in how they're scored, a flaw that actually rewards the very thing we're trying to stop.
And here is that critical flaw. On most of these tests, a correct answer gets you 1 point. Simple enough. But an incorrect guess and an honest, "I don't know," they both get a big fat 0. So if you're the AI, the logic is painfully obvious. There is absolutely no penalty for being wrong, but there's a huge potential prize for a lucky guess.
As the researchers who studied this put it, this whole system creates an epidemic. We are actively penalizing the AI for admitting when it's not sure about something. So the best strategy, every single time, is to just take a shot, give the most plausible sounding answer it can cook up, even if its internal confidence is practically 0. It's always stuck in test-taking mode.
And don't think this is some small niche problem. We are talking about the big leagues here. The most important, most influential benchmarks that we use to decide which AI is the best, the ones you see in all the headlines like MLLU Pro and GPQA, they all use this same guest-friendly scoring. We've basically built a system that rewards the most confident bluffer.
So if the test itself is the problem, then the solution isn't just about building a smarter AI, is it? It's about designing a smarter test, one that actually values honesty just as much as it values knowledge.
And the solution that's being proposed is remarkably simple. It's something you've probably seen on some of the toughest human exams. First, you just make the grading rules crystal clear. Second, you add a penalty for wrong answers. And third, you make saying "I don't know" a neutral 0-point option.
And you can do this with just a simple instruction, right there in the prompt. You tell the model something like this. Hey, answer only if you are more than 90% confident because mistakes are going to cost you 9 points, while the correct answer only gets you 1, and I don't know gets you 0. You lay out the stakes. And boom, just like that, the entire incentive structure flips on its head. The winning strategy is no longer to guess every single time. The winning strategy is to be honest. This one simple change forces the AI to develop a sense of its own uncertainty and then act on it.
So when you put it all together, this whole mystery of AI hallucinations, it kind of just disappears, doesn't it? It's not magic. It's a two-part problem that we created. First, we train them in a way that leaves them weak on rare facts. And then, we test them with exams that actually reward them for guessing when they're not sure. But the real takeaway is this. It's a problem we can solve, not by building a bigger AI, but just by changing the rules of the game.
Which really leaves us with this one big question to chew on. With all the focus on making AI more powerful and more knowledgeable, maybe the next great leap forward isn't about knowing more answers. Maybe it's about building an AI that has the wisdom and the incentive to just say, I don't know.